Universal has produced some pretty OP dinosaurs, T-Rex sized hybrids that could outsmart humans and manipulate other dinosaurs to its will, all the way to dragon wannabes who just want to be called a dinosaur. And there is a lot of killing and somewhat gore in these films, so it's no surprise that the films are rated PG-13. But what if I were to tell you, Universal used to distribute an old trilogy that was rated E for everyone, and it was just as, if not even more traumatizing than some of the deaths in the Jurassic franchise, and more specifically the monsters they used to call dinosaurs. It could just be me, but I don't know what dinosaur can survive a mile-long fall and tons of debris falling on top of it, or one that could just shake an entire cliff despite being dwarfed by it. Sounds like something of myth to me. Well, it wasn't, at least not in the Land Before Time universe. I haven't done a video on the Sharpteeth in months, and surprisingly when I did mention it in the Discord, a lot of people wanted to see some more content, so I guess it's coming back. Similarly to the video where I explained the menaces for dinosaurs Disney used to make back in the day, I'll do a rundown on just how crazy Sharpteeth were. And yes, Universal technically didn't make The Land Before Time, at least not the older movies. They just acted as distributors. Original production team was Amblin Entertainment and a few others. Aside from the depressing scenes such as an infant crying after watching his mother get torn up, The Land Before Time movies were a lifeline for most of us as kids. Well, those of us who liked dinosaurs. You know what? Even if you didn't like dinosaurs, I'm sure you've seen at least one movie. Every single movie and the newer series revolves around a young apatosaurus called Littlefoot and his band of merry friends, who always for some reason find themselves in the mysterious beyond. The mysterious beyond is basically Crackhead City, while the Great Valley is a gated community, where all the herbivores and some omnivores live in complete harmony, until Littlefoot and his crew does something stupid. That something usually includes leading the Crashouts to their home. The Crashouts themselves come in many different shapes and sizes. Some swim, some fly, and most patrol the mysterious beyond. The Sharpteeth are any carnivores basically, no matter the animal. The most common characteristic is them going insane to catch food that wouldn't replenish even half the calories they just spent trying to catch the prey item. Some parts do have forests, but most of the mysterious beyond is just a wasteland with little to no prey, resulting in these animals resorting to desperate measures to fill their stomachs, such as cannibalism. Even the young eat each other in the most arid of areas, hence why you only see one baby when it's supposed to be a clutch, although the other hatchlings could have just been picked off by other predators. The most feared versions of the Sharpteeth are the Megaceropods, or dinosaurs that ordinarily wouldn't be Megaceropods but are in the show because of just how much they've been upscaled, which I'll get into soon. There has been many villains that have come and gone, but none have and probably never will match the power and legacy of the OG Sharptooth, a massive T-Rex that went ham trying to catch Littlefoot and Sarah, going so far as to jump into a field of thorns the size of swords, but inevitably did have to fight a full-grown Apatosaurus being Littlefoot's mother. This T-Rex in particular had a common theme of smashing its head into a rock. After Littlefoot's mom slammed him into a cliff, he destroyed stone just trying to get up. Now, adult Apatosaurus can weigh upwards of 33 tons, and while weights do vary for the Sharpteeth, just comparing him to that sauropod side by side, I'ma let you do the math. Most think he's at least half the weight of Littlefoot's mom, which if true, is crazy work. The man fell a mile or more into a chasm, and when he crashed down, tons of debris fell on him. And did he die? Nope, he just woke up after being touched a few times and walked off like nothing happened. After this, his head game really starts to show. Pause. This dude really went all out for the kids. I could understand Littlefoot's mom because at least the risk would be somewhat worth it because that's enough food to last for days, but going so far for morsels that are smaller than some of his teeth is crazy work. Imagine you're in a desert, you haven't eaten for days, but there's 4 sentient chicken nuggets that can run. Assuming that they can somewhat match your speed, would it really be worth it to go for a chase? And have mercy if you don't catch them at all. The calories expended from that alone digs your grave further. It's basically the same for this T-Rex. My man slammed into cliffs and rammed one so hard, the entire cliff face literally shook, which caused Petrie to fall. It was kinda crazy how he died though. I thought the only thing that would be able to kill him is Excalibur, but instead it was a boulder that knocked him out in the water, which caused him to drown. In his wake, the most popular Sharptooth now is Redclaw. Despite the memes people make of him running away from fruit, hell, I used to make fun of him too, he is still a threat. They really made him sauropod sized in some shots. Sometimes he's about the same size as the OG Sharptooth next to a sauropod, but other times they just show him towering over trees. And he's one of the Sharpteeth we've seen trying to eat other Sharpteeth, the smaller ones that is, the fast biters. Speaking of fast biters, I really do hate the new gen design. I'm sorry, but it's just terrible. Why do they only have 2 claws and a hunched over stance, with the body frame of someone who has rickets? They are still strong, don't get me wrong, as they have the balls to take on adult sauropods, but so did the old gen versions, who were also more diverse. There were these tiger ones, grey ones, and even quilled variants that looked the best to me. Well, as you know, I have a bias for things with quills. A few of these guys were able to push back Mr. Treehorn, Littlefoot's grandfather, and a few others. Got to the point where they could no longer fight them off and instead had to use the environment to their advantage. That is the same sauropod that could easily sweep a T-Rex off its feet, and a Triceratops that can casually smash boulders and send crocodile morphs his size in the air for so long it takes almost 7 seconds for them to return to the ground. Yet these fast biters, who I assume are Deinonychus, had the herbivore group backing up and took full on hits from Littlefoot's grandfather and Mr. Treehorn, and managed to press them even further. So it's clear that regardless of size, the only thing that could stop these, well, the old gen Sharptooth, was dead. But since I'm mentioning Littlefoot's grandfather and Mr. Treehorn, I might as well give them credit. These two have no fear whatsoever when fighting the biggest of Sharpteeth, and both have taken down many Sharpteeth in their day. Mr. Treehorn especially has balls of steel to willingly fight Redclaw on his own and take on a group of crocodile morphs his size, and when the two of them band together, there's nothing they're afraid of, well, except for one thing. The only Sharptooth I've saw to this day that made both of them hide is the Carnotaurus. If there was another that actually made them decide to hide, then let me know. It's been a while since I've watched the series. And remember how I said this universe turns theropods that wouldn't ordinarily be megaceropods into them? Well, this is a prime example. This Carnotaurus is similar in size to some of the largest Sharpteeth we've seen, and despite this it can jump at least 100 feet and not break anything. This is a common theme actually. The OG Sharptooth jumped on top of Littlefoot's mom from a standstill, and the Allosaurus did the same, and also fell a decent way down and survived. I'm sure if even a Jurassic Park megaceropod tried that, they would break at least something. And speaking of breaking things, this Carnotaurus was breaking rock structures while just chasing Littlefoot, even breaking pillars in order to get into the cave. He almost caught Littlefoot's grandfather and Mr. Treehorn as well, but a group of some other dinosaurs distracted it. It could just be them not wanting to unnecessarily fight a Sharptooth, but at the same time it seems off because usually they would not hesitate, unless they know something about this Carnotaurus we don't. It isn't all predator and prey relationships however, since Sharptooth on Sharptooth violence happens among even the megaceropods. The Indominus may have held their own decently well against a raptor and a T-Rex, but the Land Before Time Giganotosaurus was going band for band with Chomper's parents, both of which have proved that they can solo a sauropod by themselves without backup by the way. This Giganotosaurus was clinical, taking out the weak points of the Rexes which allowed him to send them onto the floor, but sadly he got a surprise tail smack to the face, sending him into the ocean, where I could only imagine what happened to him next, because like Walking with Dinosaurs, the Land Before Time made Liopleurodon a monster. By far the biggest Sharptooth we've seen to date, this Pliosaur was the main villain in the Journey to Big Water, which featured an ichthyosaur called Mo trying to find his family back. As a child this confused me, well, the villain's behavior. It had me wondering if there was just a universal hit against Bigfoot and his crew among the Sharpteeth, because that thing would ignore Mo most of the time, even when he tried to hold it back. A Pliosaur even half the size would beach itself if it went onto the land, but like the Jurassic World Mosasaurus, it has enough muscle power to propel itself back into the water without much issue. The dude got temporarily knocked out by a large log and took his anger out on it. I understand trying to get a dinosaurus inside, but he did not need to slam it against the surface of the water like that, then yeet it onto the other side. I could go on and on about the feats of many of these monsters, but that would be a 30-minute long video if I tried to list all of them. Basically, immune to fall damage, the big ones can take out sauropods, and they don't care about conserving energy. If it's the movies, it's food regardless of if it's worth it or not. Imagine if the OG Sharptooth were to be set loose in Isla Nublar during Jurassic World. That might be the one thing capable of making Rexy and the Indominus work together, and even then, I don't know if it would win. A literal headbutt shook an entire cliff. In summary, they are roided up megaceropods with the resistance of Steve in creative mode and the agility of dromaeosaurs that literally exist just to eat, which makes sense considering where most of them live. In a barren environment like this, your only choice is to eat whatever you can, even if it includes other Sharpteeth occasionally. It's kinda sad when you look at it because they're literally driven into madness by hunger, but I guess a villain is a villain no matter the story. Anyway, that's gonna do it for now folks. Next video is gonna be Sunday. I'll see you then.